Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Yes, you're on the air. Radio off, voice up.
Oh, yeah, is this Art Bell?
That would be me.
Oh, how you doing?
I'm okay, sir. Where are you?
I'm calling from Garden Grove, California.
Okay.
My name's Al. And I had an experience with this flying rods about 25 years ago. Me and some friends were, we were young back then. We were in...
25 years ago?
About 25 years ago.
Yeah, we were all young back then.
Yeah,
compared to now.
Yeah, we were doing some pot.
Uh-huh.
And back in Mexicali.
So you were stoned in Mexicali, right?
Yeah, stoned in Mexicali.
So that's the setup for this.
Oh.
All right, already your credibility is running up there at a high 10, but go ahead.
Okay. And we were kind of stoned, and we saw everything like in slow motion, you know.
Yeah.
You know, like a friend of mine had a beer and he dropped it.
So wait a minute now. Let's be sure we've got the setup straight. Now you're not just stoned, but you're drinking beer too, right?
Well, not me, but
he was drinking beer.
Some other guys.
So you were just smoking the pot. He was smoking pot and drinking beer.
Yeah.
All right. And so what did he do?
So he dropped his beer, and I saw the beads of the beer come out really slow. You know, I saw a can
in slow motion.
Slow motion,
yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
After about 20 minutes, I saw this what I thought were worms that were flying just around us.
Worms.
Yeah. And
so you think that you were seeing rods?
Yes, that's what I thought.
All right, well, maybe you were seeing rods, but you've got to know that your little preamble here to how you saw them is going to cause a lot of people to say...
I was hallucinating, right, yeah. I was stoned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but here's the funny thing.
No flying elephants, just rods.
No, just
rods.
Words. The funny thing is that I thought I was, hallucinating, and then my friend,
yes,
who was also smoking pot,
yes,
got up and he said, so,
the worms.
No, he said the snakes. There's snakes.
The snakes. There's flying snakes.
Around us, and I thought about that. I said, well, maybe those were the rods. After now seeing the pictures there.
Now you have seen the photographs.
Yes, sir.
Good for you. Good for you. So at the moment you saw them, you thought, my God, those are the rods I saw? Those are the snakes he saw?
Yeah. I know, it's a lot of people would not believe it because, we were stoned.
Now, was there any relationship to how many hits of weed you had and how many rods you saw?
No, not really.
No.
No.
So once sufficiently stoned, you're saying that the door is open and it's Rodville? Well... Has that happened since?
No, of course not.
So it was a one-time thing?
Yeah, it was a one-time thing. I've never seen.
You mean the pot smoking or the seeing of the rods?
The rods. God, I haven't smoked pot in about 20 years ago.
20 years.
22 years ago.
22. Well, in the 3 years that you still smoked, you never saw him again?
Nah.
No. All right. Well, I certainly appreciate the testimonial, and I'm sure that Jose will add that right on to his list of high proof regarding rods. You never know. You wouldn't take that one into a congressional hearing, but it was kind of interesting on balance. It really was kind of interesting. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Yeah.
Hi there.
How you doing there, Art?
All right. What is your first name?
My first name is Dan, and I'm calling from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
All right, Dan.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to talk to you there, Art.
And to you. What's up?
I am currently possessed by a demonic entity. It's plaguing my life. And have you ever heard of Adolfo de Jesus Costanzo? He was a cult leader during the 1980s.
No, I honestly cannot say.
Okay, well, this doesn't really have to do with him. It more has to do with his religion and things of that nature. It was a Caribbean, African type spiritual, thing like that. And about 2 years ago, I worked in a Spanish-speaking, bodega, like a corner store here in Philadelphia, real urban setting, type.
Sure.
And, it's a cult, and there's two sides to this cult, and, one good and one evil, and he worked for the good side of the cult, and, one time he paid me some money. I worked for him, and never doing anything, of that nature, normal things around the store. Excuse me. And he paid me some money to help reverse a spell on a person who had, been in some bad luck situations, a lot of misfortune, and, to help get them out. And I had to basically, pour this powder on a step of a rival Padrino, which means Godfather in Spanish. And what they do is, they cast spells and they do things like that.
It's not like putting down a banana peel for your rival to slip on and break his neck.
Well, no, this was a powder that was purchased for, a very high price.
The United States government is very suspicious of white powder these days.
Well, this is anthrax or anything like that. I don't know, actually, but...
See, there you are.
Yeah. So, I put the powder on the steps or whatever. I did my part for my share of the money that he gave me. And after this, everything was okay. We went back to the store we were currently working at. Like I said, this was his rival that owned another store of a bodega. And we come back to his store, and we have to sacrifice a chicken.
Well, see right there.
Well, exactly, and I'm a Christian. So, to me, this was bad.
Yeah.
I should not have been doing things of this nature.
Right.
So, and I didn't really, sacrifice. I held the chicken for him.
Right.
And this is a little off-brand.
You're part of it then. You held the chicken.
Well, a little bit later, a couple days, maybe a week, I was walking to the store to open. That morning, I was ready to open the store. I had keys and everything like that. And before me, I saw a very dark, demonic, draped in a dark robe, very, very penetrating eyes, something you don't want to look at. And it led me to the store. I knew my way to the store. I worked there every day. It led me to the store, kind of, telling me to go there. And it pointed to this heavy, heavy rock, on the ground, and I blanked out. And when I woke up, the Padrino, the guy I worked for, was waking me up off of the ground, and was pointing to the store, and the window was broken. Everything inside the store, glass, was broke. Everything. It was demolished. It was the places where the sodas were kept, things like that were all broke.
Something really big had happened.
Something, exactly.
Yes.
And he knew what had happened. He wouldn't explain to me what it was or anything like that, but he knew that I had done this. It's just it wasn't me. Something had possessed me to do this. And from that day on, after he actually tried to take it away from me, showering me in blood of associated animals with the religion. And it didn't work. He's tried many other things since then, and it hasn't worked. So the main reason I called was
you are possessed by an evil entity of some sort, and you are doing
things to not just him, but to every Padrino that's locally around this area that is on the good side of this religion. I know that it's me, but it's not me. That there's been robberies. There's been...
that sounds like the beginning of a legal defense to me. It's me, but it's not me.
Exactly. Yeah, but Art, when I tell you this, I mean this wholeheartedly.
You can tell Art Bell this, but
exactly.
When you tell the detectives this, you're going to have a
I haven't
problem.
been arrested.
I understand.
And And the thing is, I'm pleading. I mean, there's many listeners to your show, and I'm asking if there's anybody out there
who could lift this,
who could help me shed light on this situation at all, to please come forth with something, because he has no answer for me. He has done what he has done, and it has not gone away. I've been plagued by this thing. It will not go away. And well,
you held the damn chicken.
I held the chicken.
It sounds like opening the door, brother.
And I poured the powder on the steps.
That's right.
I got myself into it. Art, it has been a pleasure talking to you. I don't want to take up too much time, and I just think you have a great show, and I'm sorry you're not on every night, and George is great.
Good luck to you.
All right, thank you very much, Art.
You take care, and if there's anybody who can lift this horrid curse from this man who's doing things that he's going to have a very hard time explaining, then come forth. But it sounds to me like you invited in your own fate, sir. Chicken legs. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Art Bell?
Yes, turn your radio off, please.
Okay, I'm in my cellular. I'm rolling into Albuquerque, New Mexico. My name is Pete.
Okay.
I listen to you every morning on the way to work, and I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time. See, I had my car in the shop, and I had a show car getting painted, and it was in the shop for 3 years.
3 years?
For 3 years, it was in the shop.
Getting painted? Wait a minute. You had a car in the shop 3 years getting painted?
Yeah, it was a show car. So anyway...
What, was somebody doing this with a toothpick?
No, it was all custom. Everything was torn apart.
But
that's not the point where I'm calling. What I'm calling was, I saw this UFO sitting on the top of this plateau, and I used to drive to this body shop 30 miles from Albuquerque south, and that's the time when those cows were getting mutilated that time, and the government couldn't figure out what was going on.
Yeah, it was in all the papers there.
Right. Okay, me and my wife had gone down to the body shop that day. We didn't see nothing that day. On the way back, we were coming towards Albuquerque, and we looked up to the left, and there was this big, huge craft. It looked like it was big as a mall. And my wife said, "Look at that." And I pulled over, and we looked at it for a while, and I said, "God, that is unbelievable."
Well, that's quite a sighting.
Well, let's get off and walk over there. She goes, I'm not going over there. I'm not about to get dissected. But that thing was so huge.
Yeah, wives are usually smarter.
Yeah. But this is the truth. Every time I talk to somebody about it, they say I'm crazy or something, And me and my wife are the only ones that have seen this. And at that time...
Is your wife with you?
No, we're separated now.
Oh, I see.
I have a different wife now.
Oh, I see.
But anyway, that time when, just before that helicopter had blew up with all them troops in it. I don't know if you remember it. It was on the news.
Well, I remember a number of incidents.
Yeah, well, my mom and my sister were coming back from Tucson at that time.
But why do you connect one with the other? What does that have to do with it?
Well, the reason why I didn't tell the government about it, because I was scared to get, because they had came to my house and questioned my mom up and down.
Well, I think I may have the answer if you'll just listen on the air. Obviously, I have never heard of any paint job that takes 3 years. And they took so long in painting your car that obviously some sort of time distortion developed. I mean, I don't care what they were doing. There's no way on God's green earth that the best of custom work can take 3 years. It is in itself a giant time distortion. Go here to my weird person line. You're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Art Bell?
Yes.
Oh, I just got through. That's great. Okay, just listen to the show.
Okay, you're going to have to speak up good and loud. I can barely hear you.
Okay, is that better?
That's better.
Okay. Well, I just want to say in 1980, I took a trip to Wyoming to specifically go aboard a UFO on Pat McGuire's farm.
Well, now, wait a minute. Why would you think there would be a UFO landing in Wyoming or anywhere else?
Well, Mr. McGuire was on television saying that there was on, I think, the old show That's Incredible.
Uh-huh.
And so myself and a couple of friends went out there and saw what we saw. It's all documented through Dr. Sprinkle at the university.
So what did you see?
Oh, I don't really want to say, but I saw...
Oh, come on now.
I saw the equivalent of some bright lights. I'll leave it at that. and they were flying in a pattern that was not fixed-wing or rotary-wing type aircraft.
Yeah. You saw a UFO.
No doubt, but I don't want to say that because I have no way to prove it other than my own word.
Look, a UFO is just an unidentified flying object,
that's
and
true.
you definitely saw one of those, right?
By definition, I did.
But you didn't get picked up, you didn't get abducted, you didn't get to ride in one.
I'm not sure.
Oh?
I don't think I did, no. But some strange things did happen.
Like what?
I don't want to go into detail. There's too many people listening.
Well, but you knew that when you called me.
Well, it's just something weird to talk about that I did.
Well, that's why I have the weird line open.
Right. That's
so you can't tell me.
I could tell you maybe, person-to-person conversation, but not on the air.
All right. Well, then I'm going to leave it at that then. You've got to be able to tell everybody, not just me. Got to be able to tell everybody. This is an open radio program. So when you get ready to, make it all public, when you're going to let it all out, well, call me back. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Hello, how are you doing tonight?
Well, you're listening, right?
Yes, sir.
It's a little strange.
Well, I have something that may be quite strange for you as well.
This is the home of strange, so go ahead.
I'm 27 years old.
Yes.
And when I was 18 years old, I met what I can only describe as a man in black, but maybe not in the same sense as what your callers are talking about tonight.
Well, we've had quite a range of men in black.
When I was 19, I met my father for the first time, and he and my mother were divorced early. I guess when I was a couple of months old.
Yes.
And my father came, and it was kind of an exciting thing to meet your father for the first time at that point.
Well, sure.
And we were taking a trip. I'm nervous, Art. You'll have to bear with me. But
I'm bearing with you, no problem.
It ended up, we took a trip. We took a trip to West Virginia, and I'm not going to say where I live, and that'll become evident in just a moment.
All right.
My father took me to West Virginia, took me out into the mountains, camping trip, and he relayed some family history to me, which is something that I'd never expected, and you're probably not going to believe this, but it turns out that my father explained to me that there was a curse upon our family.
Oh, no.
And
it's the last thing you want to hear from your dad.
No, it's this is something like, what are you talking about? It's ridiculous. But to make a long story short, there in the middle of nowhere in the woods of West Virginia where we were camping, a man in black appears at the campsite. Okay. And this man in black told me that what was to be expected of me was that I would go and bathe in a pool, really nothing more than just a little hollow where a creek was running, and it filled up. I go into the pool.
Yes.
And for 9 years, Art, I was a wolf.
You were?
I was a wolf.
What was it like being a wolf?
It's terrifying, as you might imagine.
Well, I would imagine it has its high and low points. I mean, there are probably good things about being a wolf, too.
Well, it's
unless you're in sheep's clothing.
Well, obviously. To explain it is beyond words, but I can tell you this, that it's never-ending cycles of hunger. And
is your father still alive?
I have not seen my father since that time.
So you presume then that he might be gone now?
I have no desire to contact him.
No desire?
Well, can you imagine? I know I sound like a Fruit Loop, and I know that this is ridiculous. But I'm here to tell you that
you were a wolf.
Effectively, yes, I was.
Not all right. Let me be clear. Not a werewolf, not a supernatural wolf. A regular, everyday Wolf.
The best that I can determine, Art, was that I was transformed into wolf form. From what my father explained to me, that this is something that has happened to firstborn males in my family for...
That's a hell of a story. Look, I really want to know more because you are the first person to claim to have been a wolf, so that makes your story very important. Can you hold on?
Sure.
All right. Did you kill?
I've killed more times than I care to remember.
How would you characterize the experience of being a wolf? Above and beyond the constant hunger that you must have felt.
If you can imagine fear for every waking moment, and the only thing that can overpower that fear is the desire to eat.
And now that you're back to human form again, sir?
Art, I think it goes without saying that I'll never be the same. I've had something taken from me.
That's something that will always be with you and always gone at the same time. Is that about right?
That's correct.
You swear this is true on your old whiskers?
Well, hey, if it's not true, then maybe I am a lunatic. But all I can tell you is that 2 years ago, I emerged from that same pool in the forest in West Virginia.
That's a hell of a story. I appreciate the call, sir.
It was 1978, about 20 miles west of Denver. I'm really nervous. Okay, so excuse me. I made a buddy of mine. I was 13 years old. Basically, what we've done is we kind of snuck out of the house at night, you know.
I did that in my day.
And can I mention last names?
No.
Okay. This was Lookout Mountain Road, Relay Park, and we come around the corner, and there's a recreation area on the right side. They have company picnics in there, and they got a baseball diamond, picnic tables, etc.
Right.
And there's this thing standing on the pitcher's mound.
Really?
Beating a dead dog with a stick.
Beating a dead dog with a stick?
Yes, sir. About 9 feet tall. Wasn't human. Could tell that right away. Right across the street is the Jefferson County Nature Center, and there's a big stone gate.
Yeah.
And it's about 100 yards away, and there's about a 60-mile-an-hour Chinook wind blowing. We get behind the gate, and we're watching this, and it's got this dog by the tail, and it's beating this dog on the head. Had the dog in the left hand, stick in the right, holding it out, you know. And my friend's name was Jody. And I turned to him, and I whispered. I forget what I whispered. I think I said, you know, can you believe this, or, you know, whatever. This thing turned its head towards us. And we're talking 100 yards.
Yes.
Heavy wind. We were downwind from it.
Right.
It took off running, covered 200 yards in, I'd say, 4 seconds. And galvanized ranch gate.
Maybe we ought to call him Fast Foot.
Yeah, but you know, the UFO thing. You know, I think there's a relationship between the two. And a related story in 1984, which is about 6 years later. Friends of mine on the mountain, David and Wendy, they found a human hand in their dog pen. Bad. And they called the cops. The cops came up. Cops traced it, and they found this tourist from New York City buried in this snowdrift without a hand. And they basically they never ascertained if it was buried by a human or an animal. I don't know if it's related. But it happened in the same general area.
Well, I liked your Bigfoot story most. That was pretty good. You swear on all that's holy.
I swear on it, and I have told this story, and I've been ridiculed for it. I've told it in greater detail. You know, I feel that it's a little more urgent because I'm on talk radio, and, you know. But,
well, look,
Jody, if you're out there, you know who you are. And everybody out there knows who they are if they ridicule me for it. But I swear to God.
Well, I shall not, sir. Thank you very much for the call. It's easy to ridicule. It's easy to criticize. Anybody, as Congressman Schiff said, and there are a lot of small, narrow minds out there, who can do nothing but criticize. And because a certain subject is not of interest to them, they act quickly to jump and make fools of those who would come and tell a story, as this young man just did. I appreciate it. I would not try to make a fool of you, sir, and I don't do that on this program. These are open lines, and I'll listen to everybody fairly. At least I'll try to.
Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hi.
Hi, this is Michael, and I have some information that I think you folks overlooked, which relates both to Saddam, and it ties Saddam directly to John Lear test.
Wait a minute. What does Saddam have to do with the John Lear test?
Well, he has to do everything because Saddam, it's actually a pretty sad day for humanity today because for all of the bad things that Saddam did, and I understand he did a lot of bad things, nonetheless, he was trying to free this planet from a particular extraterrestrial race.
He was? Saddam was doing that?
Yes.
I think he was trying to free the planet mostly from his own citizens. You know, he slaughtered a lot of them.
Well, perhaps, as I said, if he did it indeed,
so
that's wrong.
you're sad that Saddam is toast.
In some way,
yes?
Because I'm trying to be rational here. I'm not trying to. I know this is going to be a very emotional issue for everybody. On
I mean,
both sides.
you are saying that secretly Saddam was actually interfacing with the aliens, and so
semi-secretly. He was semi-public about it.
I see.
And my information comes from somebody whom you have interviewed a lot and whom you're very familiar with, and that is Richard Hoagland.
Richard Hoagland?
Yes.
But directly? I mean, did you talk to Richard since the capture of Saddam?
Not in person, but I heard one of his presentations at...
Yes, but you could not... All right, well, that's enough of that. There's no way he could have heard a presentation by Richard Hoagland since Saddam's been captured. So therefore, that couldn't have been said. There's just no way. I know for a fact because I talked to Richard, and he will be lucky, and will be lucky, if he gets here tomorrow night. He's got the flu. And so he wouldn't have communicated with Richard. Saddam, the alien negotiator.
East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Art.
Yes, sir. Where are you?
I'm in Missouri.
Missouri, okay.
Yeah, I was listening to you Friday night, and you had a fellow on there that said he could travel out of time. He could stop time.
Stop time, yes. We talked about that last week a little bit. He claimed he could literally stop time, like in an old Twilight Zone where everything freezes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, I tried desperately to call in that night. I listen to you every night. I'm a long-time listener. My dad turned me on to your show.
Are you telling me you've done this or you know somebody who does?
I do. I don't do it on purpose. It just seems to happen. It's like a real... I get real dizzy and everything's real hazy.
And you can stop?
Yeah, things just all of a sudden stop and I get a head rush.
Yeah.
And while things are stopped, I've developed kind of a habit of fooling around while things are stopped, but I don't know how long it's going to be stopped for.
Fooling around how?
I shoplift.
You do?
Yeah. I've become quite the klepto when things like this happen.
Well, I didn't exactly say that earlier, but I suppose... fooling around with something like that might be something you try to sort of prove the theory.
It's something, it's real easy to do. Like, say you're in Circuit City and you're looking at the DVDs and things go wiggy.
Yeah.
And you've got a copy of something sitting there in front of you and everything stops. It's like, well, I'll just take this and walk out of the store with it.
In your hand, in the open.
Yeah, right out in the open.
And you claim you've done this and no alarms went off, nobody chased you? Nothing.
Nothing.
You just walk right out of Circuit City.
Walk right out. I haven't had the guts to knock over a bank yet because I don't know how long it's going to last.
In other words, you're telling me this can end involuntarily.
I don't control it. It just comes and goes.
Oh, then you're right. It could be awfully dangerous.
So you got to be real careful.
Well, weren't you a little concerned, headed for the door in Circuit City with a DVD?
Oh, yeah. It gets real risky. That's why it's a rush.
Can you make it happen?
No. It just happens. And I went to the doctor.
You told a doctor about this?
Yeah, I been going to the VA, to the psychiatrist, since I got out of the Army.
Okie dokie. And what does your doctor say? Well,
they put me under hypnosis to find out if this actually happens, to see, because I wanted to know if I was going crazy or not.
Fair enough, yeah, sure.
And sure enough, they said, well, you believe it's happening. I'm like, okay.
You mean that's actually what they came back with? That yes, you do believe
I believe it's happening. My doctor said I believe it's happening. And I'm coming home with stuff and never getting caught. So you never know. I could be lifting people's wallets. And
well, have you done anything other than short-term profit with it?
Oh, yeah. Back when I was in school, I used to look under girls' dresses and stuff. Little harmless things. It's happened all my life. Bad stuff. That's why
it's so nice to know you're out there.
Well, see, that's another thing. I suspect lots of people can do this, and you were talking about invisibility tonight.
Well, have you ever seen the statistics on the amount of theft that stores lose? It's terrible, 10 or 20% or something like that. I wonder how much of it is due to people like you.
And I was wondering about that girl that called from Chicago.
Yes.
I was thinking maybe she might have slipped out of time temporarily when that picture was taken, involuntarily.
Anything's possible, sir.
And
that's what I've learned. Anything.
I'm sure there's people out there all over the world that can do this and have been doing it. You ever lost your keys or your wallet?
Yeah, but don't you? Well, as a matter of fact, now that you mention it, yes.
And can't figure it out?
I always figured it went to a place called the Land of the Lost.
Well, it may be somebody doing what I'm doing.
Also documented in a Twilight Zone. That's right. It could be people like you. What a menace. I mean, you have this incredible talent, and what are you doing? You're looking up girls' dresses, and you're taking stuff from Circuit City. Now, that's... surely there has got to be... So what is it next? A bank? You're going to try a bank?
No, that's too major leagues. If it decides to peter out on you in the middle of the job, you're in trouble.
Well, yeah, but I mean, what jail could hold you?
Well, that's true.
In the long term.
In the long term,
but you would get a record.
Yeah. They'd know who you were. You wouldn't be safe, so...
All right. Well, extremely interesting and somewhat pathetic.
Yeah, it's too bad that one guy couldn't share what all he had done last Friday. I'm sure he's got a lot of stories to tell, too.
No doubt, sir. Thank you very much.
Nice talking to you, Art.
And to you. What do you say about that? What a talent, and what a waste of talent, for a DVD. Wildcard line, you're on the air with Pamela. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. First of all, I'd like to give glory to God and His Holy Spirit for touching the lives of Christians out there who listen to your show. And also, I have a question for Pamela.
Yes.
What gives these entities, or whatever they are, the right to interfere with people's lives?
Again, interference.
People who are going through their life,
Again, interference.
My husband doesn't think I'm having an affair. But they seem to, they make him think because of weird, extraordinary circumstances. I didn't always believe it, but
wait a minute.
Well,
in my life.
Wait, everybody, hold it for a second. Hold it, caller. Your husband thinks you're having an affair?
Yeah, and I would not. I would not.
Well, I understand
even
that.
Look at another man.
Well, maybe you should play this tape for him then.
What tape?
The one you're making right now.
Right now?
Yeah, on the air.
So why does
you wouldn't lie to Art Bell?
Why
he obviously doesn't believe you.
Why does he think
No.
this?
No.
No.
Why? Extraordinary circumstances in my life, like things happening at a certain time.
Like,
so you think you're having interaction?
That I may be leaving.
Like what?
Do you think you're having interaction?
Stop. Like what? Are
like
you having she's asking the right question. Are you having an interaction with another being?
I don't know. I have had, dreams, I remember from my childhood, but any interaction that I'm having right now, other than seeing UFOs in the sky.
That doesn't constitute an affair.
No, I don't think it does either. But other than UFOs in the sky, I don't remember anything except for weird events going around, and I can't possibly explain them.
Well, you must have told him something to make him think that.
Oh, no.
Nothing at all?
No.
So he's plucking this right out of the air, thin air.
I guess so.
Well, I guess listen to Leo Biscaglia and Carolyn Mace, and maybe that'll help you a bit. They're really incredibly self-empowering people.
Mm.
I want to read you this email that I got and reference my website. I've received many suggestions about what this might be, but nobody's totally sure. Here it is. Dear Art, this creature, and we've got photographs of whatever in the hell it is, this creature squirmed out of the bullet hole of a freshly killed pika here in Montana. We don't know what it is. My son went camping out at Monarch and hiked several miles into the woods with his friends. Late at night, they heard something out in the brush, and having a .22 with them, loaded it, got flashlights out, and started looking toward where the noise was coming from. They spotted the pika, shot it one time in the abdomen. They then took it and sat it on a flat rock and kept the flashlights trained on it, thinking that something else might come to check the dead pika out. Soon they noticed this, in quotes, creature wiggling out of the bullet hole and grabbed a cup, and once it was out of the pika, put it in the cup with some water. Now this, again in quotes, creature has a stinger at the slender end of its body that would stick in and out like a wasp, and mouth parts with grabbing teeth at the fat end. Yuck. It had no eyes that we could see. It also had in the mouth part 2 holes in the mouth. I assume one hole for a throat and the other for bringing fluids up to the grasping area. This creature was alive and not moving very much when I saw it the first time, until I suggested they put it in warm, not hot water, just warm. When my son put it in warm water, that thing came alive big time. It was moving around like crazy, and seeing that the warm water made it think it was inside another animal and looking for something to attach its mouth to. If any of your listeners, substitute that for readers, can identify this thing, that would be great. The creature's dead now, we think, and the pics I have do not show the stinger. I wasn't about to get my fingers anywhere near that thing to take pictures of it with my cam, with that stinger and mouth going like it was. By the time they brought it back to me, it had died. Saw many movies where those things come alive and attack the amateur scientist. Yeah, he's right. He's absolutely right. So we got this email up along with the photographs. Take a look. Anytime anything crawls out of a bullet hole, it gets my attention. Yuck. I mean, you shoot something and you expect it to be dead. You do not expect things with big teeth to be crawling out of the bullet hole. So that's up on my website now under What's New, entitled From Listener, The Creature. Well, maybe it's something well known, but I sure don't know what it is.
Let's go west of the Rockies and say hello there. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hello.
My name's Corey. I'm calling from Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Yes.
I just wanted to, I guess, somebody or just with Dr. Strassman earlier, and just talking about drug-induced experiences. I had a pretty crazy, I would almost call it a near-death experience, maybe, with Salvia divinorum. I guess it's probably lesser known, but
it's so much lesser known. I've never heard of it. What is it?
Well, it's a plant. It's a sage. It's of the Salvia genus or of the Salvia family, and it's been used by shamans in Mexico for hundreds of years, and I mean it's been used for those purposes. But it's, I don't know. It's supposedly the most potent psychotropic known to man. And anyways, I'll cut to the chase. I had a friend that had done it several times and had some pretty crazy experiences, and I took one hit from a water pipe of it, and I don't even know how to explain. It took me a while. I don't know. The whole thing lasted probably, in this dimension, about 10 minutes, but in my head it probably took several hours. But I took a hit, and I went to set the water pipe down, and I just felt an explosion, and it took me a minute to regain myself, and I don't know. I would explain it I was totally in another time and another place. I went through the whole, I don't know, fractal repeating images of myself and stuff. And then I totally relived some crazy moments from my childhood. I was actually part of, I don't know, it was kind of strange. I was seeing my mom talking to myself as a child, and she was just talking about, just repeating the same line, you kids don't know what you're playing with. And, I don't know, it was really weird. And it took me
Did it scare you?
Huh? It was very scary at first. Since then, I've kind of learned a lot from it and studied it, and I haven't really messed with that since then. But, yeah, it was very startling at the time.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate that. That's the kind of thing that I'm interested in as well. And again, I know that these drugs that we're talking about, many of them anyway, I've never heard of that one, but a lot of them obviously are illegal, and for a very good reason. Nevertheless, it remains a legitimate area of inquiry for anybody doing a program of the type that we're doing. Entirely legitimate, because there may be answers there. I understand that in Western culture, we have placed a big no-no on all of this, and there are legitimate reasons for that. In the West, we pride ourselves on having a very great deal of productivity. And it's widely thought, and probably is certainly true, that drugs tremendously detract from productivity. And we don't want that. We can't have that, can we? We are a society that prides itself in, well, again, that word, productivity, that means money. And when you're not productive, you're just sort of a burden on society. So you can easily understand why society passes laws against this kind of thing. I don't think there's any law against inquiry about it, though.